should make an announcement to when I'll stream. I wonder. That's a pretty interesting look. Let's see if I can work with this. What I'm trying to do is follow that something that I saw on Twitter that said, instead of drawing what you see, draw the effect. And what that means to me, or I want to implement with this, is drawing enough to get the audience to know that this is kind of like the ceiling. This is the ceiling. Without going into too much detail. how long will I do this? This doesn't even make any sense. Yeah. That's a pretty cool effect. Let me think. Man, not even an email telling me that Facebook made an oopsie and changed their mind. SMH my head. Hey Lamai, what's going on? Oh yeah, that's fine. What's good on your neck of the woods? Or in your neck of the woods? On your neck of the woods? Blah. Not much. I was able to shadow an IT company for a day and a half. Ooh, sounds fun. Congratulations on being able to do that. To have an IT company to take you under their wing. Let's see. Let's see how I want to do this. Let's try going here. It was pretty hot today, so I decided not to go outside. I decided to do a little bit of cardio on the inside, so I wouldn't burn up. I just wouldn't have to face the heat. I might go outside later today when it's a lot cooler. So how was shadowing somebody? I want to feather this for a bit. Feather this a little bit. Man, I wish I had something interesting to say other than I started up a Facebook account to set up a page for like a Studio Masonymous page for Facebook, but they suspended the account for a quick second for like an hour and deleted the page. So I have to schedule my content all over again. It's not like it took forever to schedule it, but it was quite the inconvenience nonetheless. Quite the inconvenience. How are you? Man, I've been at this. I've just been focused on doing this for a while. Not really the comic, but just drawing, and then going back and forth between drawing and finding out how to hey G4, what's going on, and promotion, the usual back and forth, you know. And when I do that, my attention gets thin, so it's hard for me to pay attention. Like I'm still trying out the Facebook monetization model. It's just Facebook sent me back for no reason. Well, if I would give it a reason, it would be because I just been signing into my Facebook account on different devices and browsers, and that made it suspicious. You've been in the cycle for 7 years now, so it's understandable to become numb. Uh, yeah, it is numbness, and it is just genuine being tiredness because I've been drawing for the past, well, since 9. Wait, so 5 for the past 8 hours, about, just about. Not straight, but I have taken like a little some breaks, and I was a little bit distracted and along the way because I was trying to figure out the best way to set up ads for the Facebook for the Facebook page, and then Facebook suspended my account. But after an hour or an hour and a half, 2 hours or whatever, they're like, "Okay, my bad, our bad, sorry." But when I logged back in, they took away my Facebook page, so I have to set that up and re schedule all of that. And then after I set all of my all the stuff that I want to set up, I got what was it? I have to run ads on it. Yeah, they're cracking down on possible bots. Yeah, good thing that I'm not a bot. What I don't like about Facebook is that how much it wants to show me to people I may know from high school, and I'm like, no, I don't want to know, unfortunately. I kind of don't want to know. That's kind of none of what are the people you went to high school up with? I'm like, that's none of my business. I dropped my Facebook. Yeah, I'm only using Facebook to get the brand out there. If it wasn't for that, then I would absolutely have no business being on social media outside of YouTube for the fun of it. I like YouTube. But I wouldn't if I didn't have Masonymous. I wouldn't be posting anything on YouTube. Heck, I wouldn't even post political opinion. Yeah, I wouldn't even be posting anything on YouTube. I'd just be a normie probably, or a chud, mostly a chud. Yeah, I'd be an absolutely shoot. Yeah, if I didn't have the business, I feel like my charisma would drop like 10 points. And my charisma is very. The miles may vary if you have a disposition to like me or not. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. Yeah, I'm the same. I'm not a social media type of guy. Social media was such a mistake, dude. Like, but you gotta work with it. You gotta work with it if you want to run a business. Let me go over here. What am I gonna work on next to after this? I might work on either Just a Reaper or Chimera Island. I might push Just a Reaper back because Volume 2, Matt's like even Matt said like he doesn't even like Volume 2 that much. Like he written it by himself and he said he didn't like it that much. Well, I say Volume 2, but it's like Episode 2. Let's see. I think we both written an episode by ourselves. And episode 3 is what I've written by myself. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so what I'm probably gonna do with these back and forth conversation segments is just play around with these different brushes. Maybe after this call, I'll go on a walk. Call after this live stream, I'll go on a walk. It shouldn't be as hot. It's like 91 out here. I want to see some. Come on. Let me see if I can expand this. I wonder if there's a. Yeah, I need more brushes. There's really nothing interesting in terms of media these days. These days. Oh yeah. Let's see if there's anything I saw on YouTube that was interesting. Uh, the latest drama that I saw was is in the Christian right wing sphere, where a popular East Orthodox or just general Orthodox apologist Jay Dyer, he went on Tucker Carlson, and one segment of the interview is saying that the Protestant Reformation birthed the concept of nominalism, which, from what I understand of it, of how they explain it, or how he explains it, is saying everything, there is no true essence of things, it's just names of things, and if you can change the name, you change the. Yeah, and if you change the name of the thing, you change the purpose of it. And he did a string of logic that said that something like said something around the ilk of Protestantism birthed the idea and the Enlightenment birthed the idea of the concept of transgenderism. So, and that got everybody on the internet in a tizzy, especially the white nationalist people who was calling him a race traitor and saying that he would never talk about Jewish people in the same way, which he has. And it's a very interesting conversation that went down. A conversation, but a very interesting thing that's been happening on the internet. And there was a commentator named I Hypocrite who wants to form debates between people, and he wanted to form a debate between Jay Dyer and a Lutheran apologist named Corey Mahler. And I've listened to a handful of Corey Mahler's podcast, and he's one of those like race realists guys. I think the craziest thing that I heard Mahler say was that there are more white people in heaven than black people, and stuff like that. I was like following him for a while just to see what was his deal, and I completely noped out when I just know he's just a rage baiter. I think what completely made me just not care about him anymore was I remember he had a post on Twitter that I stumbled upon, and the post was basically beauty is close to God, beauty is close to godliness, and it was two pictures, one of like a dark skin, like a grandmother that wasn't, the whole point was that she wasn't like aesthetically pleasing, next to like a young European girl. The second picture was next to a young European girl, and I was like, dude, like, this is very fun. Like, this is you cannot look at this and say you're rage baiting. you are just doing this for clicks. But and I can see the reason why he does it within the internal cogs, because he feels like the truest sense of being Christian is to ruffle feathers of non-believers. So what you need to do is make as much people mad with the most unpopular parts of the Christian message. And if you get people mad, then that's good, because if people hate you, it's said in the book, if people hate you, know that they hated Christ first. So that was so yeah, with that aside, High Hypocrite wanted to form a debate between Corey Mahler and Jay Dyer. And Jay Dyer didn't want to form a debate because he found a tweet that Corey Mahler said that saying, wait, Jay Dyer replied to a tweet of Corey Mahler, and Jay Dyer said, so you're saying, he said something along the lines of, to understand Mahler's point of, does Mahler expect all East Orthodox to be killed? And Mahler basically said, yeah, because he sees Orthodox Christians as traitors. And I was, and I'm like, that's a very reasonable way to not want to debate somebody. And I just saw like I just went off a live stream of just talking about that position, just talking about that debacle that went down. One of the many causes of effects of the fallout of Orthodoxy and like battling with Protestants, which is very interesting. That's the side of the internet. That's the side of the internet that YouTube decided to show me. Anyway, Lamai said, Tucker so cringe. You can't be white nationalist and a Christian. Why do they care? The only true white nationalists I heard are Norse pagan or atheists. It's all just stupid. A whole bunch of people are going to hell. Why do you think you cannot be a white nationalist and a Christian? Why are those two ideologies incompatible? I've heard a lot of speakers, a lot of white nationalists make the case that it is compatible with Christianity through the idea of through the idea of first saying white nationalism is in the United States sense of a nation is its people, and the people is its people, and the people are white. So saying white nationalist is a redundant term, like saying chai tea, right? Those are the terms. With that being said, and being just a nationalist is wanting what is best for your nation, and your nation is your people. That's what they say. And they say it's a Christian virtue of looking after the heart of God, then your family, then your people. God is no respecter of persons. Acts 10:34. What does that mean? What is the context of that verse? And what is the context of that verse? Let me check that out. Just to be shown, I'm not taking no sides. I just think I'm a writer. All I do is hear and listen, and I will. All I do is listen, and try to do what and try to synthesize all the information so things can make sense. Then Peter opened his mouth and said, "Oh, of a truth, I perceive that God is no respecter of persons, built in every nation that he feareth him, and within righteousness is accepted with him." And Peter opened his mouth and said, "Of truth, I perceive that God is no respecter of persons." Respecter of persons. What does that mean? Built in every nation, but in every nation that he feareth him, and worketh in righteousness, is accepted with him. So how does that correlate to? How does that make white nationalism incompatible with Christianity? Because when I read that, maybe my reading comprehension is lower than dirt, right? So when I read that, that's what I want to get, what I think I'm getting out of that is that God has no preferential treatment of individuals that are outside of him. In truth, I perceive a God with no respect of persons, but in every nation that feareth him, and worketh righteousness, and accepted with him. So, in other words, I'm trying to, this is so such a interesting way. Okay, this is what the Acts 10:34 context that I'm reading. And said Cornelius, thy prayer is heard, that thine aims are had in remembrance of the sight of God. Send before Joppa. Man, I love freaking Bible names. You hear name, okay, off this is a tangent, I know, but you hear names like Joppa, then you hear the names like Melchizedek, and then you hear this, then you see Simon, Peter, and I'm like, wow, this is so. It's like, why did I feel like we just keep some names and then drop some other names? So like the names that we drop from the Bible, it's so alien for me to read. But that being said, send therefore Joppa and call hither Simon, whose surname is Peter. He is lodged with the house of one Simon, a tanner by the seaside. Then he cometh, shall speak unto thee. Immediately therefore I sent to thee, and thou hast done that thou hast come. Now therefore we are all present before God, to hear all things that commanded thee of God. Okay, that's pretty much pretext. That's just a setup. But yeah, that is pretty much a setup. Not really closure. Preaching of Jesus Christ, that I say, ye know, which was published throughout all of Judea, and beginning from Galilee after the baptism of John the Baptist preached. Yeah, from all nations and people are included. What matters is God. I can get behind Christian nationalists. Oh, okay. 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 Thank you for the clarification. Thank you for the clarification. Because there is a Venn diagram, and sometimes those Venn diagrams uh, uh, overlap. So you're saying the problem with white nationalism is that it's putting the race first and not God first, which is understandable. Honestly, all I've met a handful of pagans in my life, not a lot, but a handful of pagans in my life, and just talking to them, I can only get the impression that I can only get the impression that their beliefs is just an extent of not belonging to a country that they are proud of. Not yeah, just not belonging to a country that they're proud of. Usually, weak leadership. The country's not producing anything that will make them feel like, yeah, I feel good to be an American, and to be an American uh, used to be synonymous to being a Christian at the very least, and now we're not producing anything that's great anymore. So people have gotten more and more Protestant in their thinking to the point before it was protesting the Catholic Church, right? Because you had your Quakers, you had your Presbyterians, you had your Lutherans. Before all of that, right? You had your everything after that, right? And then we live in the modern day where people are so disillusioned with Protestantism, they move even more. They kind of revert back to protesting against Protestantism, which they either go to atheism or uh, paganism. They go back to European voodoo as a not as a way of really being connected, because their ancestors who were pagans, there was a point where they came to Christ. So like, they renounced their gods to reunite with Christ. So it's such a weird thing. Well, I'm not saying it's a weird thing, but it's very interesting. It has an interesting like Europeanism to it, like how there's like how with black people there's Pan Africans who want to go back to Egyptian spirituality, or just general spirituality, or just voodoo, because they're disillusioned with the church, or just whatever Protestant denomination that they left. It would make sense why the hardcore white nats are atheists or pagan, because they call Christian slaves to the Jewish people or weak. If you know the structures, it's hard to justify if you know the structures, it is hard to justify racism or being tied to earthly concepts like race. Oh, the scriptures. Okay. Oh wow, this this conversation really made everybody leave, but it's a whatever. It's all right. It is fine. It's fine. That's what I'm interested in. Makes sense why the hardcore. Yeah. If we know the scriptures, it's hard to justify racism. Yeah. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Um, I mean, people can be. I mean, it depends on your wording, right? Because people can be tied to the weird thing about race is that it's such a dimorphous, just such a dimorph. Is that the right word? Dimorphous term. Uh, in two different. Okay, occurring, existing in two different forms. Well, let's say like in like a lot of forms, right? At once. Well, God made you white or black, and you should be grateful that He made you that way. If you're a Christian, you should be mad. Like, you should not be mad that God made black people or any other race. Well, that is true. But I want to go back to the idea of race. And it's very interesting because you have people who say race is an extension of your family, right? Of your, it's just like another form of an extended family because because people, I've heard the conversation of culture is the offspring. Well, culture is the offspring of the race of people, right? And actually, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to go there actually because that's not really where I want. That's not. Let me. I can't really form a sentence that's related to this. Really, it's an interesting thought, but it's not related to this topic, right? People say it's a race is a form of an extended family. However, I feel like this was pretty. This is a modern thinking because if you want to go within the first established idea of race, it was through the Black Codes. It was basically established, from my understanding, it was established from the Bacon Rebellion during the 13 colonies of America, like pre-America, right? And all like the reason it like what kind of established was of what was the not the establishment but well yeah the establishment of it was a way for the European government to prevent uh, the differing peoples of America, the differing colonies that would soon to be America, from uniting to cause another rebellion to basically take more land that to take land that didn't legally belong to them yet. Well, that didn't belong to them. Let's just say that legally belonged to them yet. That just didn't belong to them. And as time went on, we're kind of talking about this idea again, where they say race is just the people, as if it's like America's just another Europe, which just makes this whole conversation just very. I don't think it's impossible to have. However, it's really it's really annoying to hear a lot of people talk about it because the people who do talk about it are very tied up with a it's very tied up within the past instead of contextualizing it to how to make it workable in like today. But yeah, kind of made you went yeah, but I don't think I I really don't think anybody hates uh the fact that another race exists because like from what the internet has shown me about what other people think, it's usually not the people but the culture or the behaviors that the people exhibit. Like a lot of people say they don't like a lot of wignats. They say they don't like other races because they do not assimilate without acknowledging without acknowledging uh, there were acknowledging like it was not the easiest way. Like it was not the easiest historically. It was not the easiest. Assimilation was not the easiest thing to do. When you have a race like the main people just exiling you or just like keeping you away from being part of the overall culture. Where is it? Not stripe. Transparent. I need the eraser. Gradient erase. Sin. Let's see. Just excuses. You can hate sin. Sin is not tied to one race. That's true. No, yeah, that's true. And in Christ, your family is the members of the church. Right. Let me expand this. Yeah, that is true. Because Christ will divide the matters of Christ, and Christ Himself will divide the members of blood, if it comes to that. That is a good point. Isn't it written in the book that Christ will separate like father, like brother, like son from father, uh, brother from brother, sister and mother, such and such and such. And that's what that reminds me of. He is a double-edged sword. Yeah. I think it goes back to when I said like the main problem is the lack of leadership. Damn, random stream. Oh yeah. Yeah. We kind of got heavy into the paint talking about what the heck has been up on my YouTube. Not my that YouTube's been showing me, or the drama that's been on my side of the internet. But if there's like another topic that anybody wants to talk about, feel free to jump in. But you know me, like if somebody wants to have a conversation about something, I'm willing to talk. I'm willing to talk about it. Yeah, but like I said, it just goes back down to very weak leadership. Let's talk about the IRS. Specifically, what about the IRS? What are they doing? What have they done? Where did they come from? Where did they go? Where did they come from? Cotton Eye Joe. Dun, 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 dun. I Yeah, I don't know. Pay your taxes. I don't know. Is what I've hear. Is what I've heard. I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, I don't want to. I don't really want to. I don't feel like it. I know everybody says, yo, the government will give your tax money to Israel or whatever. But at the same time, the government can always just print more money. That's the government can always print more money. Lamai, I just want to be an artist, but I need a stable job. That stable job does not bring me joy. Yeah, I understand. I understand. I absolutely get it. That's the reason. That's the reason why I've been doing this for the past 7 years. For the past 7 years. Dang, I don't even want to think about that. Going on Facebook and seeing my peers being engaged, being married, having kids. And I'm like, I'm right over here. I probably would have had. Well, no, no, no. I'm not even going down that path. I'm not even gonna go back down that train of thought. Whatever. It is what it is. It is what it is. I gotta move forward. Gotta keep moving forward, just like Meet the Robinsons. Why do they make you guess how much you have to pay and then know exactly how much you owe them? I believe they do that because there is a I don't know if there's a patent, but there is the people behind TurboTax. They lobby to prevent the U.S. government from telling everybody how much they exactly owe in income tax. I remember seeing a TikTok about it once. So it's TikTok information. So take it with a grain of salt. The reason why we don't know exactly why how much we should pay is because TurboTax filed a patent, not patent, but lobbied against the government from telling people to do that, so more people can pay for uh, businesses or what's the word? Yeah, businesses like TurboTax to stay afloat. There should be one low flat tax for everyone, 10% income. With all taxes like property tax can go away. Man, I don't like having. What if TurboTax fall? We get transparency. Um, maybe, maybe not. I don't. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know that much about it. I just know why it's here. And why it's here is because of lobbying. And just because they can lobby to do that probably opens the door for other people to lobby to keep that going. Because if they can do it, most likely someone else will exploit the exact same thing to keep the money train going. Yeah, I stopped thinking about what the government should do with tax money because you'll just make yourself mad. You'll just make yourself upset. You will unless you live off the land and homestead or something. Yeah, unless you want to live off the like a homestead or something. Yeah, it's best not to think about it. Better yet, probably find a way to not evade, avoid taxes. Because if I learned anything through my class, my entrepreneur class, it's illegal to evade taxes, but it's completely legal to avoid it. Illegal to evade taxes, but legal to avoid it. And to this day, I don't really know why we have taxes anymore. I don't know why we have taxes. I know why we have it on paper, but come on, on paper. But we give the government money, but we don't get universal basic income. Very, very odd. Very strange. It's like that meme that I saw a while ago, back when the U.S. was giving out stimulus packages, like stimulus checks, where
they're very slow, surprisingly slow when it comes to finding who gets the stimmies, but they're really quick when it comes to uh, who owes them money. But that's what happens when you live, and that's just how it be in this world. I mean, baby military doesn't run on dreams. Yeah, it runs on terrorism. Let's see. It runs on getting as many people to respect the dollar, the almighty dollar. Hmm. Let's see. How am I supposed to do this? Let me turn off the background. There we go. I'm not that violent. I'm about to smack Joe Biden. You owe me my stimulus checks. That was a good song. Why is it so difficult to chase your dreams? Let's see what else. What else happened on the internet, on the interwebs? Dude, why is everybody sending me a friend request? I hate Facebook. Dude, I do people why do people send me friend requests? Why does everybody want 1,000 friends on Facebook? What is the point? What is the purpose? Ugh, gross. Yeah, I gotta get. I should. I mean, yeah. I read that. I read that.
I think right now at this point of the comic of like a comic production, it's just I'm trying to add the glam. Just the things that makes it look aesthetically pleasing. I forgot what it was called. Because I am not interested in making. Dang, I need to make these brushes better. How do I make these brushes better? There's got to be like a way. Subtool group set. Okay. Did I just make a new subtool? No, I did not. How can I make a rule for all of these? Do you want to restore? No, I don't want to restore. Oh, that's a clock. Okay, so I think if I want to do for everything, display size on screen, at least 1 pixel. Opacity, no. Ink. Color mixing. Sure, the amount of paint. Blend modes, normal, yeah. I feel like the color mixing is pretty cool. Anti-aliasing, brush shape. No, that's stupid. Okay, here we go. This is my spraying effect. No, that's the wrong one. Texture. No, that's not it. I wish I could do this for. I wish I could do this for all the materials. Like, got the thickness. I accidentally made this a brush. I don't want to make this not a brush, but I accidentally made this a shoot, a spray. There we go. It's not a spray no more. I do want to make it a brush. I don't want to change the randomized per stroke. No, not the color. Maybe the ink. Opacity is cool. Yeah, I like that. Actually, no. I'm not gonna mix the colors. I want it to be a pattern. I want it to be a pattern. Da 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 da. Hmm. Let's try this. Is this what I want? No. Shoot. No, I don't. Opacity, thickness. I've been using this thing for years. Clip Studio for years, and I just don't really touch this thing. Color jitter. Brush rate. Brush. That's what I don't like. Angle. No. That's the wrong one. What if I change the thickness? No, that's the wrong one. Dang, why is this so difficult? Change circle. No, material. Yeah. Dang. Adjust density gap. Oh. A lot of it is just.
I want to make the repeat method. Ribbon, no. Correct velocity input. Continue spraying. What is it? Oh, the gap. That's probably what I'm looking for. There we go. I'm looking for gap. It was under stroke. Like everything should have like their own gap. No, I guess I have to do it for every single one. Dang it. I just need to get better. I just need to get more like actual brushes. I need to get like a brush set specifically for Clip Studio. No. I'll continue spraying. Direction vertical. Yeah, the spraying effect is not good. Brush tip. I want it to rotate. I thought there was a... Oh. Direction of pen. Direction of line. Yeah, there we go. So this should look better. Okay, let's see. What else have I been looking at on YouTube? I've been playing a. My gaming rotation has been on playing Loco Roco for the PSP, Medieval Resurrection also on the PSP, Breath of Fire 2 for the Game Boy Advance. I think I beat Super Mario 3D Land for the 3DS in like 2 days. And what else? What else have I been playing? Yeah, I've been basically on a rotation on like those sum of games. And when I was playing Breath of Fire 2, it's a lot more. It has a lot more personality. Well, not just personality. It wants to be tonally distinct from the other ones, from like the first one. I noticed. I feel like there was like a PS2 game that I was playing. Oh yeah, I tried playing a Shinobi a little bit. It was a bit difficult. It was a bit difficult for me. times. Yep. Now let's see. Let's see. I think this is good. That's good. Three people. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I should probably stop streaming on Kick, huh? Absolutely nobody uses Kick. Might as well go back to using Twitch. I think I've been using Kick for like, well, I've been dual casting on Kick for a while, and not a single person from that platform said anything. But if I stream on Twitch, it's just gonna bring me more bots that wants to sell me AI banners. That doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem like a good use of my time and effort. Alright. If anybody, if there's nothing on everybody's mind, I might. How much long have I been streaming? Okay, an hour. If nothing else is, if there's nothing else on everybody's mind, I guess I can call it a stream. Let me check if there's another topic from my history. I guess talking a little bit about Childish Gambino. Yeah, I've been mostly listening to people's Facebook strategy. I mean, I did watch a video about why why anime's Christianity is so weird. More people talking about the Alien Thor, YouTube, Facebook monetization content. It was pretty much a refresher of what I already knew when it came to how Japan sees Christianity through the lens of anime. But I did not know. But one thing that I did learn, and I was not surprised, was from the video, was that the what was it, the Portuguese, who came, yeah, I think it was like the Portuguese who came to Japan to trade and give them religion, also were selling Japanese people off to slavery, because yeah, that was the thing. And the leaders were like, "Yeah, we're not doing this anymore." Yeah, it was them. Yeah, so like the leaders were like, "Yeah, we're not doing this anymore. Get out of our country," which honestly, reasonable crash out. And like, and they're like, "Yeah, we're not doing this anymore. All these Christians, they're going to either get out the country, they're gonna die, and everyone who's a Christian, they are also going to die. They're going to have to renounce their faith or die," which is pretty. I did not hear about the slavery bit. According to that video, there was some slavery happen. Like there was slavery happening. The Portuguese brought Christianity and slavery, which you would think you would hear more about that. You would think you would hear more about that. Like that, like all like the narrative that I constantly heard was the Portuguese gave them capitalism, and well, mostly the Dutch stayed there because they were like not really they were helping out the shogunate to kick out the Christians because they were trying to practice capitalism. Um, but the Japanese rulers are like, no, we don't want your kind here. Like literally, all they have to say is like, yeah. Literally, all the other people had to say was like, yeah, the Portuguese brought slavery over to the Japanese with Christianity, and the Japanese didn't want it. When as soon as they found out that they were being sold to slavery. So, if that's the case, then I'm confused why I haven't heard about it sooner. And if it is the case, which I wouldn't be surprised about, if it is the case, then that is a good reason why. That reason alone is why the Japanese just are not accepting of outside closed religions, and would prefer like a more pluralistic pluralistic view of religion. Because I'm not gonna lie, I get it. As soon as there were Christian leaders in Japan, the first thing that they did were, well, not the first thing. One thing that they included absolutely were it was destroying a lot of Buddhist temples and sacred places because when you're under Christianity, all that stuff is devil worship. It's paganism. It's paganism. Devil worship, leading people away from God. God. Worshipping the creation instead of the creator. And to pluralists, that's just not a good thing. That's not a cool thing to do. The Portuguese Pope offered to help a Christian lord become king of Japan. He refused, took his followers and fled to the Philippines. Honestly, that might have been I don't know, dude. That's a very tricky thing to say. I'm like I get it. I get it. You know what? The Portuguese offered to help a Christian lord become king of Japan. Yeah, that's a good. I feel like that was a good choice. I feel like that's a good choice. Like, yes, it would be good to like have everybody subjugate under like a form of Christianity, like the Portuguese Pope, like Catholicism, Japan could have been a Catholic nation. However, comma, I I think that alternate history would be very crazy. I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. Because like I Oh, by the way, did you know that Spanish mainly the I cannot pronounce that fought the Japanese Roman pirates in the Philippines in the 1582 crazy crossover. How do you even pronounce that? Looks like you just spazzed on the keyboard. Let me see if I can pronunciation. Dude, just let me listen to the word.
Tlaxcaltecas.
Sorry for the jump scare.
Tlaxcaltecas.
Tlaxcaltecas. Tlaxcaltecas. Tlaxcaltecas. What is the etymology of that word? What? Tlaxcaltecas. The word Tlaxcaltecas is the stress falls on the syllable. No. The term Tlaxcaltecas, a Nahua people from the Mexican state of Tlaxcala, who allied with the Spanish conquistadors. Oh, Mexico. Yes, that makes sense. That makes sense. I see a word like that. I'm like, that sounds Mexican. Of course, it's Mexican. That look. I wouldn't say that sounds well. It sounds Mexican, but it looks Mexican. They were the ones that allied with the Spanish to f over the Mexicans. Yeah. Yeah. What a crazy crossover. Yeah, but anyway, Japanese Buddhism was violent compared to the other brands of Buddhism. Oh yeah, depending yeah, I like you're not like if you have like several war I'm pretty sure the people who had a warring states period uh probably don't have the most peaceful form of Buddhism. You know what I mean? Like you can't really have a warring states period and be a very peaceful form of Buddhism. But yeah, I remember when I was in a museum in Ueno, there was a statue for a certain uh, Buddhist god, or just a certain god whose role was to bring the the apostates of Buddhism back to Buddhism. He was like a violent god with that role of bringing people back to Buddhism. I thought that was a very interesting uh, character. Which kind of got me back to the idea of like, I thought Buddhism was like a pretty much pluralistic. Like, why would Buddhists care if people follow an exclusionary religion? Well, I guess Buddhism is a form of exclusionary. Well, if you have a truth claim, then it would make sense to be exclusionary. F in the chat says so. They actually were given the rank of Great of Spain. Mainly, they were second only to the king. They were like the 400k universe, kind of like the wait. They were like in the 40k universe, kind of like the Astares. I have not. The only thing I know about Warhammer 40k is like just two games, and one of the games was on the 360. I know absolutely nothing about the lore. Great of Spain. Okay, Buddhism was freaking brutal. Yeah. Yeah, but it's very interesting to see a lot of all of the philosophy that came out of that strand of Buddhism, or just coming from those people. And I say those people with the most kind and loving intentions. Those people, heart emoji. I mean, Aurelio was brutal too, but he had big head, so too. So Marcus Marcus Aurelius, Marco Aurelio. I didn't see that. Sorry, I'm multitasking, please. And these names are foreign to me. Not only can I not read, I'm reading foreign names. So please be patient. If you've seen any of my game streams, you know I can't read. Okay. Let's see. Da 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 da. Yeah, it's very interesting seeing how all that plays out, all that history play out. It makes the modern day feel tame in comparison. In certain parts of the world, because you still have the wars going on, in in the Middle East, which I feel like that this war is just not that great. I mean, it's interesting in like a very specific way, because like a lot of the wars back in the past is pretty much people going over resources, you know, and now the wars we have today is beyond resource and more about just power, leverage over everyone else. Because I feel like everybody's history has already been said and done, and now we're at a different part of history where everybody's just fighting for uh, what's the word? Leverage to do whatever they want. By the way, the Japanese pirates I talked about before were called wakos, by the way. Huh, that's cool. I guess there's a lot of things that go down in the Philippines. Huh.
see. Wait, who's punching whom? All right. It's very interesting to see. It's very interesting how a lot of people are interested in Japanese history or European history. I think it's because of the soft. I think that's just the whole fascination with soft power. You know, it's like seeing a someone blow up, and then you try to look into their internet history, and then you see like an entire can of worms, like a whole treasure trove, can of worms, and a whole treasure trove of things to talk about. I guess a lot of like people in the West aren't really interested in stuff like Russian history because there's not a lot of soft power that Russia has on the West. I know Spanish history because Spanish to be honest, but yeah, kind of history buff. Right. Wow. Oh yeah, I forget that LeMay and F in the chat. I don't. You guys aren't American, are you? No. Like pretty international team. We three. I know Sketch is American. G4 is Canadian, I believe. G4 is. And I'm trying to remember anybody else who frequents the chat. No, it's a pretty tight knit group. Nope, to be honest, weird stream times because 2 a.m. sometimes 4 p.m. Oh, I try to be consistent, like 2 a.m. and 4 p.m. It's it always is pretty weird how I try to set up stream times on the eastern side of, of things on the Eastern Standard Time. Uh, but I always get an international audience. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do?
would love to draw an entire comic like this. It would be so fast. Right now it's 1 a.m. because Spain has German time meridian. Why not? Why isn't it Spain time meridian, huh? What's that all about? Also, why aren't you getting rest? Don't you have something to do in the morning? I appreciate you guys being here and giving me watch time so I can be monetized, and maybe when I'm monetized, YouTube will push me to more people. Like, I cannot stay up. I am not a night person whatsoever. And I'm not the best morning person either. Because I think I'm a morning person, then I meet people who wake up at like 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. I'm like, dude, what? Like, I wake up at like 7 or 8. I drink coffee. And then I just like work on stuff. Imagine saying, yay, we're gonna get the same time like all of your friends on the axis. Then forget to change it back because F it after Mustache Man and the crazy ass shorty exploded. Man. I know, yeah. From what I hear, World War One did crazy side effects on the Middle East, and World War Two did crazy side effects in Europe. Well, that's what I've heard. The Ottoman Empire collapse. Huh. The Ottoman Empire is such a gray area. In my knowledge of history. I probably should do some more research on it. I remember hearing that in passing that my dad took a DNA test, and the part of Africa that he's from is like from Ghana. So I was like, maybe I can look into stuff from Ghanaian history and not just general African continental history. And I couldn't find anything easy to listen to on YouTube. So I was like, well, oh well, I guess I'll be sticking to American history, which I don't have a problem with it because I'm honestly more attached to America. I'm honestly more attached to America than any part of Africa personally. Sure, it's in Africa is like in my blood, it's in my genetics, but I'm like this is what I know. Don't ask Bulgarians about the Ottoman Empire if you want them to be nice. Like, I mean, probably they'll just like rant to me how much they hate it or something like that. And I'll be like, dang, that's crazy. I thought this was a Wendy's.
Let's see. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
You know, like all this history talk got me, or it reminded me of one of the things I said in passing that some of the people I used to know thought it was super funny, and I was like, it's so crazy how people can name every Hokage in Naruto. They can, they can no, like it was like people can tell you the entire Dragon Ball history, but can't tell you the first five the names of the first five presidents of the United States. Which is, I don't know, something like that phrase hit him hard. Like it hit some of them pretty hard. But I guess that has something to say about entertainment as a whole, of how powerful. I mean, it's also reminds me of how much I don't like people who obsess over lore. Like, I absolutely hate. I wouldn't say I hate. I just don't care about lore in video games. Because if I wanted to know about lore, I'll just like I would I would learn about history. Because history is way more important than the lore of any fantasy or sci-fi novel. Washington Adams, Jefferson. Sorry, I can only do three from memory. Like, I can help you with one more. The fifth one is like the easiest one. But no one really talks about the fourth one. Yeah. I forgot. Wow, we really did have two presidents back to back with the name James. George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe, John Quincy Adams, Andrew Jackson, Martin Van Buren, William Henry Harrison. That's crazy. But it really makes sense. I mean, it makes sense why people don't really when in the grand scheme of things, it really makes sense why people don't remember every president in U.S. history because some of them are just there. We have some presidents that are just there. I know for a fact. I felt like in one of my history, well, not history, it was one of my eighth grade reading classes. We had like a big test at the end of the day that Yeah, we had a big test at the end of the day, and the teacher wanted us to write down the 50 states, their capitals, the seven seas, and the oceans, the four oceans, and I don't know, like all the presidents in U.S. history or something like that. It was something super ridiculous. He was like one of those guys that were like that took. I know it's crazy for me to say this, but he was the guy that took child education way too seriously. He took he took the child education way too seriously. I think they still have it. Hold up. Yeah, this was it. Yeah, this was like what, my entire 8th grade. This was like from one class. All this was like was English class. Yeah, we got like Harriet Tubman from the Civil War. We got wow, this was like 2012. The anatomy of narrative, like author's purpose. Yeah, stuff like this. Kind of crazy Mason Lord coming. No, this was just like what, 8th grade? Yeah, this was it. Yeah, this was it. I remember. This is the cheat sheet that I wrote down, and I put it right under my desk so I could cheat in the final test. Yeah, it was yeah, the states and their what was it? And their capitals, all of the presidents. What is this? Yeah, states, capitals, presidents. Da 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 da. Yep. Wow. 2013. Man, yeah, this sucks. This sucks. I hate this. I remember after the thing was over, after the grade was over, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna burn this. I'm just gonna throw it away. And I remember I listened to my brother and my mom being like, don't throw it away. You might want to look back at it later. And I guess this was the day where I looked back on it, and I'm like, wow, I absolutely hated this. I absolutely hated experiencing all of this. I do not look back on this fondly. I do not. Wow. Wow. I hate that. No, the lore wasn't that crazy. It was just like a gigantic textbook. Nah, I hated that. I hated that so much. I always look back and think, I could never get the understood. I could never understand the the case for nostalgia, because every day I'm like, I'm so glad that I'm an adult. It's like being an adult is just it really beats the best. Like the worst day of being an adult so far beats the best day of being like a kid in school. Personally, like there are some aspects that I miss about being a child. I mean, there was some things that I miss about being a child, and that's just not well, man. I was gonna say I didn't have to care, but I had to wait. I was like, maybe I was like, oh man, maybe I didn't have to care. But I was like, no, I can not care right now. I just choose to care. And even when I was a kid, I did. I cared about storytelling, even as a kid. I remember who was president at 1898 in the USA. William McKinley. Cause blame the Maine on Spain, like blame the Maine on Spain, and then Roosevelt. I think I don't know. I'm not that into it. No, being a child was ass. Yeah, it sucks. It sucked. Time to seem to move slower as a kid. That sucked. I don't like. Yeah, that's terrible. I hate that. Though being adult is double ass, but time to move slower. Time to see me move slower as a kid. Honestly, I that reminds me of when I was watching uh Young Wavy's latest video, his latest vlog, and he said that he dropped out of high school at 17. I was like, dang, I I wish I did that. I wish I dropped out of high school at 17. Because there's nothing in my academic life, in my academic career, in like high school or college that that I could have used in the modern day, or I would have cared in the modern day. But he has like different. I know we don't live the same lives, so what he was allowed to do that, but I don't think I. But I absolutely wasn't under the custody of two parents. I don't know. And they're like, no, Mason, we care too much to let you like drop out. I should have dropped out. But nah, that's neither here or there. I can't really say nothing about that. Really, neither here or there. High school was okay. I just finished work quickly and true during my free time. Yeah, the thing that really sucks. I always say like the thing that sucks about adulthood is that you just kind of stop being around people who like you like as a kid you're around people who at least felt like somebody knew what to do, but then you grew up and then you realize nobody really knows what they're doing because the system just really sucks. It just sucks that much. So I'm like, gosh darn. Yeah, but I wouldn't want to be a kid again. I would not. I think the only thing I would do if I was a kid was probably just try to fast track. Actually, no. I don't know. I don't think I would be in any different situation. I don't think I would be in a different situation. That's kind of like what is very interesting to me. Is like I don't think I would be different if I would go back in time. I don't know if there were any opportunities that I could have taken advantage of. My favorite, my favorite time was standardized tests. My class would finish early, and we got to hang out and eat snacks. It was a chill day. I was always the last. I was always so bad at taking tests, man. I gotten so man. I remember I would always fail. I think I just I would always like barely pass math, but I would always fail English. So I had to like take it like twice. Man, what a humiliation ritual. All of that for literally nothing. All of that for literally nothing. Oh man, I thank God. Every every day I really should thank God that I wasn't born in Japan or South Korea. It really is. Like, dude, if I was born in like Japan or South Korea, well, I probably would survive being in Japan, but South Korea, I think it would be over for me. I think I'd be a delinquent. I think, but if I with my behavior and I was like in Japan or South Korea, dog, I would have been kicked out of the house. I would have been like, my life would be like one of those delinquent animes. I don't think I would have killed myself though. I probably would have like had like a dead end job, being like being a forklift driver or something like that.
If I'm back in time, I would do a gap year before going to college. Go to Japan and learn Japanese at a language school. It's really interesting when I see on my in social media timeline of people in Japan moving to America, saying that the reason why they moved is to let their kids find a sense of identity that's not forced upon them by society. A source instead of like an identity of conformity. Or people who's like very outspoken about like the Japanese culture. They're like, nah, we want to be more like they see what the West has with individualism, and they want that. But those are like the vocal minority. I don't know. That just sounds like a vocal minority thing that like YouTube shows me. Man, that was 2012. That's crazy. I was like over. Oh my gosh, that was 2012. Goodness gracious. I should have thrown that thing away. Like I was flipping through those pages. I was like getting flashbacks, and I was like, "Dang, I hate it. I hate this. I hate. I don't hate that I don't hate that time flew by. I just hate that I experienced school. I just hate that. Like school in itself just felt like a waste of time. I think it's because of school itself that made me feel like that made me like that instilled a very guttural repulsion of wasting time because all of my academic career just felt like one huge waste of time. And I know if I was talking to my mom, she would say something along the lines of "It is what you make of it." But that's just bad. That's like a bad. I really hate that because if I don't see the value of it, it is being that is a pearl. Education would be a pearl that's being thrown amongst swine, which would be me, right? Like my efforts, my attention, and my energy would be better off somewhere else.
And because I don't live in a reality of that, I was just forced to grit my teeth my entire academic career. And now I'm at a point where I just have a guttural repulsion of doing school or getting a 9 to 5 pretty much. Because I feel like that's a waste of time. If I want to get money, I will find a way to get money. If I need money, I'll find a way to get money. I really feel that's where a lot of that kind of stuff comes from. And not only that, it's like the amount of people who just who knows it's a waste of time, but it's a waste of time that they're used to. So they're more than willing to push it upon you because they're like, "Well, I've been through it and it was okay." And it just doesn't get better year after year. So yeah, I guess that's where that repulsion comes from. It's so over. Like I'm not as stressed as time passing. I just don't like how I'm just where I am at mentally when it comes to the concept of time speeding up is if I've reached the milestones I wanted to reach in life yet, or if I haven't. Like as soon as I have my milestones reached, I'll be like, okay, I don't really like I don't care how old I am. As soon as I have my milestones reached. But now it's like, ugh. Well, no, yeah, that's me. But like right now, I still don't have my milestones reached, and time goes by faster. So it's like, ugh, I gotta lock in. Well, I feel like a lot of things will just start happening as soon as I really feel like money is really the thing that's keeping me from moving, from like socializing, being comfortable socializing, because I'm a pretty sociable person. But the economy, everything's expensive. I can't go outside without spending money and da 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 da. So every time I get money, I what I usually do is try to find a way how I can use that money to make more money. So I wouldn't have to worry about it anymore. Actually, let me change this. let's actually invert it. Yeah, this feels like, yeah, this feels better. Better to do. Instead of going out. It goes in. Decorations. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm adding decorations to the panels. Instead of adding background. When I notice, instead of adding backgrounds, I just add decorations. There we go. That looks cool. Man, I really could have I probably could have angled this. Dude, I could have angled. It's probably like a stupid idea. Clear. Oh. Hello. Do it like this, right? I think this would look cool. And more dynamic. I mean, again, I really appreciate y'all for being out here, and just. Are you referencing the references for the organization? No. Am I using references for the organization? No, I'm kind of freeballing. You mean the motion? No. Why is this? Why are the borders? Oh yeah, I mean the motions of the panels. So what I'm trying to do is everything kind of connect. How is everything connected? Yeah, I'll let it rock like that for the time being. I'm just experimenting. Like this middle panel, I want it to be big. Yeah, like that. Are you watching the Odyssey? No. The only thing about the Odyssey that I am familiar with are just people calling Christopher Nolan a hack. People disagreeing with the casting roles. All I know about it are other people's opinions on it, and I'm not really that invested. It just feels like another culture war conversation, and I'm just not out of it. I kind of checked out. I don't feel like having enough. I don't feel like people hearing people talk about the same five. Come on now, why can't this thing just be normal? Why can't you just be normal? It just feels like everybody just talks about the same five things. I'm over the culture war. I'm beyond that. It's like, can you believe these woke castings? Like, yes, I can. Wanna know why I can? Because I've been paying attention for the past 10 years. We haven't progressed in the conversation for the past 10 years. We were talking about the same things for the past 10 years. Yes, I can. I can believe it, actually. So yeah, it's easy for me to. So if, it's, literally, I there's a reason why I just watch old stuff now. I just either watch old stuff. Well, I might be looking at the new Ghost in the Shell reboot. Maybe. Well, I will look at the second season of Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Cause it's not like I've watched the last Ghost. I watched the original Ghost in the Shell movie, but I saw it in passing. I kind of like the cartoony vibe of it, so I'll check it out, see what it's about. Okay, you say that 10 years classical music has stagnated since the 70s, the freaking 70s. It's classical, but like, what does a? Okay, yeah, it's classical. However, comma, how can you how can you evolve past classical music before you delve into a different genre until it becomes a different genre? You know what I mean? That's oh, contemporary music. Exactly. Would you well, there is contemporary classical music. Yeah. There we go. Yep, yep. What time? What time? Okay, it's almost closing time. Yeah, it's blurry. It doesn't really need to be a defined thing. I just hate. I don't know why it's doing this. Is there anything attached? Yeah, it's just a citable object. Yeah. Cool. That's all I need to do. Cool. I can make it keep gutters aligned. No. What if I do all? Yuck. Yeah, none. I knew it was in here somewhere. Cuz I was like, you guys like this, you don't have to do that. Yeah, so I can imagine classical music stagnating since the 70s because they just call it contemporary when it does. It's quite clear to see people get promoted and winning grants when trying new stuff that is interesting. At least that was before. Right now, they get treats spectacularism like it was something new. Expe- Spectralism. I can't read. Dang. We treat spectralism like it's new. If spectralism had a son, it would be my age. Spectralism? What is. I guess I gotta look that up. Figure out what that is. Spectral music. Contemporary composition movement that treats timbre and the acoustic spectrum as the primary material for music rather than traditional melody or harmony. Originating in France and Romania in the 1970s, it emerged as a reaction against the abstract strictures of serialism, focusing and listening on the physical properties of sound. Huh. Wow, this goes deep. Well, older to BH. Okay. Cool. Now Hmm. I think I won't have a sound effect on this one. I went from a composition to have sound effects to no, there's not going to be sound effects. I like this better. Not only because it's a little bit more dynamic, but yeah, it's a little bit more dynamic. But when you have that pattern of everything not being the same size, you'll read through it differently. It has different impact, emphasis, and such like that, and such and such and such. All of the art words that I refuse to recall on memory. Okay. I like adding this because it's gritty. Let's see if I can make this thinner. Here we go. This man is getting rocked. This kid, he's not having a good time. Okay. The only two other worth mentioning styles would be mainstream, Why are these words? These words are not in the Bible. What is this? Minimalism. That turned pop in the Scarol minimal. Minimal. Oh, you meant to write minimalism. Mainstream minimalism that turned pop in Scarol minimalism and turned into misspoke. Okay. Scarol minimalism that turned liturgical and electroacoustic that kind of turned into ambient and EDM, ambiental and EDM, sacral. The sacral minimalism that turned liturgical, and electroacoustical that turned into ambiental and EDM. Huh. Isn't that something? Anytime you misspeak, I just take you take you at your word, as if you're not, as if you mean what you say. Like your misspeakings are word or bond. Wait, hold up. Maybe I can connect my chat, connect my live streams to Facebook. Yeah, I can connect it to Facebook. Holy crap. Ah, man. I can't really I have to do it through my profile page and not Restream is making me mad. It says I can only live stream to my my profile and not my page. I might as well make my page a professional page, actually. That might be the way to go. OBS can send it whenever, I guess. I mean, that's true. But doesn't that cost way more bandwidth to go through OBS instead of Restream? Because instead of sending one broadcast and having it split towards many thing, I have to send several broadcasts to many platforms. That's how that works, right? Like, so my bandwidth my internet has to be really good, I imagine. Yeah, it's resource heavy. It doubles or triples the video encoding load and network bandwidth usage, often leading to system instability, buffering, or crashes. I could use the multi RTMP plugin, installing OBS multi RTMP, whatever plugin that allows to configure multiple streaming outputs directly within OBS, but this method keeps encoding local. Yeah, increases CPU GPU load. Yeah, so I have to use something like Streamlabs or Stream Elements. Yeah, so I don't know if I got like if there was like if I got money, if I had like people donating for the cause, then I would send it to Restreams or another whatchamacallit. I'll scale up, right? The more if I get monetized on YouTube, then and I got like people sending super chats or whatever, then yeah, then I would like scale up from that. But nah. But no, that's not a good idea. At where it's not a good idea where I am right now. I gotta struggle a little bit more. I gotta struggle a little bit longer. Let's see. Struggle. I gotta struggle. No, random. There we go. There we go. I gotta struggle. There we go. Well, can you believe that I haven't been I haven't been freaking monetized yet. Well, I can, but it's just the game. It is just the game that I'm not really playing. Like I said, this is more for me to like stay connected to streaming and such, and like working on the comic. What the heck? Oh, I did the wrong thing. I worked on the wrong layer. Silly me. There we go. Okay. All right. There we go. There we go. I'm not done with this yet. I still gotta polish it up a little bit. But this is good so far. I've been making a lot. Yeah, when it comes like the touch ups, that's when like this stage of making the comic. That's when everything kind of feels like it's going. This the workload is going downhill. In the sense of it's not as difficult. There you go. Yeah. Anyway, yep. This is it's the time. It is 8. It is time to close up shop for the day. And I'll let you, F in the chat and Lamay, go to bed. Or probably you're just gonna stay up a little bit longer and watch Combat Ken stream in about an hour and a half. But anyway, y'all take care. Peace.